Hi, I'm Cash and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League, and we're starting to do more and more coaching points throughout the any little things I can show you, and using my over 20 plus years coaching experience, trying to make you a better coach or a better player. This is the place you want to be. I don't want to be one of those YouTubers that asks people for likes and subscription. Hit the button, people. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in the descriptions of all my voice acting and other things that I do if you want to have a look at. But what we're going to talk about right now is a couple of defensive errors here for Sheffield United. If you're a player, this is very important. If you're a coach, you should know this already. But let me start breaking some of it down for you. Okay, so this is what we're going to be looking at straight away. There's not a goal that comes from it, but there is a goal scoring opportunity, and it should have been a goal, but Garnacho doesn't know what he's doing in front of goal. He panics. But I'll show you that in a second. Right, look at this guy. He's telling someone to mark, I think this is Ratface. You can see a back three, another three over here, two, and a big gap here. Can you see how messed up this shape is? And no one's really organised, right? So here's the problem. Here's the ball here. Because these guys have been pulled completely and utterly out of shape, and not really, that's the sad part. They're not really doing anything. So what should have been happening? The ball was here. It's gotten played back. He's fine. He is not. He either needs to drop off or cover the space here. He does not need to be in a straight line, because then what happens is someone has to react to the ball, and as they react to the ball, they step forward. Well, when they step forward, what do they leave behind them? Space. What's dangerous in this area of the field? Space. They end up creating their own problems and creating this goal scoring opportunity. Now there is a nice little run here from Ratface. He does come across here, but you can see this space is here to be exploited. So the point now is, can we move these defenders around and keep the space here? As we're moving this, think of it as a puzzle piece. We're trying to move the puzzle piece around, but keep that space right there. Do they do it, or do we do it? What does that mean? What do they do it themselves because we're moving the ball, or do we have to do it because we have to either do a really good 1-2, a nice little combination play, beat someone 1v1, or do they do it themselves? Now you can see there was the three. There's the guy, and he's run out. So that space now has just become even bigger. Do we see that? And this guy's now getting pulled away from with Ratface right here. So now we've got a problem, because that guy who's said track him. He's not doing anything. Yeah, he is kind of holding the middle of the field, but so's this guy. They're too close together. So these two players literally cancel each other out. Someone needs to step forward onto this guy, and no one really takes responsibility. So now if you look where that space is there, Ratface is now starting to create the space there, because he's been pulled over. He's starting to come over, and now the ball's been played into here. Do we see that? And so the space is now moving from here, because that's the problem. This is where you have to keep your shape, because if there's little gaps in it, that gap can then appear down throughout the shape as the shape tries to move, because it wasn't set properly in the first place. And that's what you're seeing happening right here. There was a cute little pass in here, and now you can see everyone has collapsed because they weren't in a decent shape. So no one really knows what they're doing. What do you mean by knows what they're doing? Right, they don't know who they're picking up, marking, or responsible for, because everything is collapsing on itself. And now you can see where the space was here. Now it's completely and utterly moved to here, because their shape wasn't correct. Do we see that? That is how, if you ever see those puzzle pieces that have got all the little squares that are trying to make a picture, that's how you need to think of it. There's one gap, and everyone's trying to slide all these little puzzle pieces around, trying to make the picture. That's generally how it works with your shape, and your job is to make sure that there isn't a space in the little puzzle piece inside your 18-yard box, and that's what's just happened here. So now he's completely through on goal. Easy goal scoring opportunity, and this is the moment he needs to pull the trigger. This is the difference between a polished player and an unpolished player. He ends up not understanding that, and it doesn't matter if he scored. Well, it does matter if he scores, but he's got to get it on target, because if he takes another touch, he's going to take himself away from the goal scoring opportunity, and that's exactly what it does. He takes another touch. Do you see? Look, he does that little feint and brings the ball inside. That's the moment he should have been taking the shot, and he didn't do it. He brings the ball inside, and the opportunity goes. Let's get on to the goal. This is that ball-playing goalkeeper that can't play with his feet at the back and gives the ball away and gets scored on. Yay! Right. People are going to... This is the difference of proper coaches and morons that coach in the Premier League. A real coach is going to spot this and go, right, it's not just... The pass is a symptom of what his problem is. His problem is his first touch, okay? That's why he makes this bad mistake. See, what people were doing, going, oh, why is he passing there? Why is he? Because he's made a terrible first touch. He's put himself in a situation where it's pretty much the only thing he sees. So let's see if we can move this forward just a little bit as we go. 1, 2, and it's coming to him right here. As he's about to receive this ball, you can see that he's looking for options to try to make a pass. The real pass he wants to do should be right through there, right? But there's nobody available. Absolutely nobody available here. There might be further down the field, but I can't really see from this, from this image here. But that's where Man United are really struggling with that midfielder there, because I think Casemiro's playing at the back again in this game, that can just come in and receive the ball. There's just nobody there. So now he has to take a first touch. Let's watch what happens. Bosh, look how far that first touch is away from him. Now he's panicking. And the reason he's panicking is because he's under pressure from this guy here. He could have got away with that first touch if he's not under pressure. So that's why he's making a rash pass, and that's why he makes a mistake. His first touch isn't good enough. He sees and feels the pressure coming onto him, and then he ends up just doing something dumb. And this is the thing he does dumb. He's knocking it out here, and it's too far for the ball to travel, for them to read it. And look, there was nobody in this midfield area. That's exactly where he wanted someone to drop in and pick up the ball for him. And now they're in all sorts of trouble because somebody else has read that pass. Now here's the other point with this terrible player playing left back for United. He has let the ball travel without going to the ball. He should have immediately checked and looked and seen that there was a player coming onto him. This guy's run from way back here, flying forward, and he hasn't reacted to getting to this ball until it's way, way too late. He's just sitting there waiting for him. Couple of reasons. The weight of the pass is bad, but he could have fixed all the problems just by running at the ball and smashing it as hard as he can somewhere different just to deal with it, and then yell at his goalkeeper, what are you doing? He doesn't. He's sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting, and then someone runs in and nicks the ball. Now when he's coming, he's still got a lot of work to do. He's still got to, beat the keeper. He gets in front of the player, which is a really good job, and then he just has to keep. I like the way he drives to the byline. He can't. All these guys are onside because there's a United player back here on the goal line down here. I don't know if he sees that necessarily, but I do like the fact that he's got one eye and one eye only, and that's to go and get a goal. Another goal United concede with a player sitting on the line for some reason, and he just pokes it in, gets himself a goal, off he goes. Here we are, right? So this is going to be the United goal here from Maguire. But one thing I'm going to just trying to show you here is they win the first ball to Sheffield United, but they're not even close to winning the second ball. And that's what it's really about. So even if you're defending well and you've got people back in your wall and you're doing your stuff, you haven't defended unless you're actually set up to help yourself defend the second ball. Because if you don't, they score from it. Well, great job defending the first ball, putting all your eggs in one basket. But no one is there. No one is anywhere else to win the ball or do anything for the second ball. They're just, yeah. But, all right, let's just move on a little bit. But there's so much empty real estate here and empty space. They have to have one player trying to cover this gap here. You can't have everybody back here and everybody trying to win the header, because it's just if they win the header and it goes up, you're there to receive it and get out and trying to do something. But if no one is here, no one's anywhere close, you can't put pressure on this guy. You can't. He has all the time in the world from this flick on to turn, find a player, pick him out and knock it on, because there's no pressure, because no one's really confident to step up and say, yeah, they're going to deal with the first ball here, I'll deal with the second ball, and then we can go play some football. They don't do it. This is why they're so bad. This is still the same play, just a little bit of extension of it. The free kick was taken, his rat face doing what he does, walking around. Everybody else is still in here. But this is what I'm trying to talk about here. You've got 3 Sheffield United players right there. Okay, and these 3, I think these 2 actually were in the box. I think he was further on up here somewhere. But they're too close. They're not doing anything. Right? He should be marking Harry Maguire, not this guy, because Maguire's behind him. So this guy here should be taking responsibility to mark Maguire. Okay? Because he doesn't know he's there. Well, he might do, but he doesn't. So the person who's in front of you is the one you want to be marking. You don't want to be marking the player behind you, because that's ridiculous. But can you see there's 3 Sheffield United players? He's unmarked, and he's unmarked, and he's unmarked in the box. It's just absolutely terrible. Not only that, you get in this situation in football when you've done something wrong. So they haven't had anyone aware to try to win a second ball or a drop down or any of that. So then what happens is when they have to go out and pressure this ball, they over panic and too many people run up forward and they run to the ball. And now they're out of sync of the play. The harder they're trying, the more they're out of sync of the play, because the first thing they did was wrong. So this ball comes in to little Harry Maguire. Gets a little flick on it, bosh, and into the bottom corner it goes. And there's enough players there, but they're all stood holding each other's hands and not doing anything. That defender there didn't even know where Harry Maguire came from. And it was the guy's responsibility behind him to track Maguire and make sure that doesn't happen. They didn't do it. Let's get on to the next goal. Okay, this is hugely important here. Like, I listened to Goldbridge talk the other day on the old United Stand channel, and he has some decent takes on the Premier League, but he doesn't really know much about football. Like, genuinely doesn't know much about football. I think he would benefit from actually doing 1-2 seasons coaching a real team and learning a couple of things, because he makes this point about United don't have the players to pass the ball. That's absolute rubbish. Well, the reason you don't pass the ball is because you don't hold your shape. Anyone can pass the ball at any age, anywhere, and keep possession as long as you have shape. No shape, no passy. That is the basic 101 in football. And United never ever hold their shape properly. Right now, if you look at what's going on, you can see this massive gap here, right? Well, it's a bit bigger. It's like all over here. And this is because there's no shape whatsoever. You've got 4 players here. You've got 5 players here. Okay, so what's going on exactly? Where's your other centre-back? Where's your centre midfielder? Why is everyone over here having a little thing? Oh, the ball's over here. It's all just a mess. You can see Bruno Fernandes has gone too far. I mean, everything is just not cohesive. And I know they play with this little weird formation where they leave 5 people up front to go and fight up there and 5 people back here and leave a big disconnect in the midfield. But you know what? That's moronic. And you can see it right here, how bad it is, right? Where you've got some players over here and some players over there, and you can't play football like that. You can, but you're just not a good football team. So when we move this forward, I'm going to show you now of why all of this is important. Because when you don't have a cohesive shape and people aren't in the right areas, you get exposed really, really simply by some simple passing. So as we move this forward, oh, by the way, this little wee man does a great job here. As we move this forward here, receives the ball, bosh. Now everyone starts flooding towards the ball, right? He's coming back in, which is not a bad job, to come in and fill the gap, right? There's a massive gap here in the middle. Is he coming back in to fill it? Well, no, not really. He's just kind of tracking with his runner. But that's what he should be doing. And you can see that these centre-backs here, I think that's Casemiro again there, aren't set properly. And this is what happens. If your defence isn't set properly, and what I mean by that is you're not in the correct shape, your midfield don't know where to be, because you're the trigger. If you're the back 4, you're the spine of the team, and you aren't in a good, decent line, or you're not, set up properly in your little curve, or however you're playing your back line, the midfielders don't know where to be. So they don't know how to cover or protect in front of you, because you're not where you're supposed to be. So if you're both over here and the midfielder is going to be in front of you here covering, well, there's no midfielder here and there's no back 4 over here. But Kirsch, it's not important. Yeah, it is. Watch what happens. So as this he turns it inside here, boop, he does everybody brilliantly. Now you can see everyone's trying to, chase the ball. Oh, this little wee man's loving him. Love it. He's asking for the ball. But everyone's now got to get set again. So because there was no original defensive line or defensive shape or midfield shape, with a little turn, now they're all panicking to go and do it again, right? This is what ends up happening. Finally, the back 4 getting some sort of cohesive shape, and here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Not really good enough, but okay. But there's no one in front of them. See that pocket of space? Got 1, 2, 3 midfielders, all on the wrong side. They didn't know they were on the wrong side because they couldn't even see where the back 4 was. And you just go, yeah, but someone should have been in the middle. Yeah, you're right, but that's not how you play, right? As soon as that's there, you can see the gap in the middle. You can see who's going to score the goal straight away, blatantly, but all because their shape wasn't right. And to be fair, if Maguire had stayed forward, he probably would have done a better job. But instantly he goes back to tuck into his shape. And if he had just could read the game a little bit better and see this guy's completely and utterly unmarked in the box, they would have stopped this goal. Still completely unmarked. And people will say, Christian Eriksen should have tracked the runners. Christian Eriksen is not a defensive midfielder or a good midfielder. He's probably on his best days, he's maybe a 3 or 4 out of 10. He was good maybe 6-7 years ago. This delusion, because players have a name and they're a good footballer once upon a time, are still a good footballer, is crazy. I think he couldn't get a game at bloody Brentford and he was sat on the bench before United picked him up. He's not a good player. He was, not anymore. So, asking him to do something that he can't do when you've got other players that can do it and do that role, to me is crazy. You've got a player right there in the middle, bop, taps it in. It's that simple. All because the shape wasn't set in the first place, the midfielders don't know what they're doing, and the whole thing collapses. And this is against Sheffield United, not a good team. Yeah, But let's get on to the next goal. To me, this is never a penalty. His arm's behind him, yes. Is he holding on to him? Yeah, kind of, not really. But Maguire just goes down and the ref just gives the penalty. This is not a penalty. This should, yeah. This is completely not a dive-in simulation, looking to get the goal. Sorry, looking to get the penalty, and he does. If this is a penalty, there's 30 penalties every single game. This guy, he just goes down way too easy. Bump, is he kind of holding onto his arm? Yeah. So what Harry Maguire's doing, he's holding onto the guy's arm as he's falling down. He's got it pinned between his arm and his body. It's an old trick, seen it 100 times. You're just holding the guy, you fall over, go, look, ref, I fell because of his arm. No, you're holding his arm and you're pulling him down. Should never have been a penalty, but it is, and Ratface steps up and scores. Not bad at all penalties is Ratface, smashes it into the net box. There we go, makes it 2-2. Let's get on to the next goal. Watch Cash's rule in the Premier League. If somebody's got their hand up in the Premier League telling another player what to do, 9 times out of 10, in about 5 seconds, someone else is going to score a goal. And he does. Now look at the acres of space he's in. Again, look at how many players are back here. And look at how many of them aren't doing anything. You're not needed to be out there marking him. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. And it's just terrible. It's overall all terrible. The reason why this guy's not doing anything, right, okay, isn't because he's not marking him, which he kind of is. It's because there's no supporting cover. There's no one with him. So he can't really step towards the ball because if he does, he opens the space behind him. He can't really do anything. If he's got another player with him, he's useful there. There's no one with him. So he's in no man's land. Or anyone steps towards, goes towards here and they're just going to pass it to the other guy. So you aren't doing anything. It's so frustrating watching this. Like, what are you doing fighting here? God. You can't have a massive gap in front of your back four like this when you're as bad as a team as Sheffield United, especially with a quality player like Bruno Fernandes, who can pick the ball up and make passes happen. And this is how shocking it is, right? He's picked the ball up, he's turned, and he's going to take a shot. Still no one's close enough to close him down because they're not... Look how many people we've got on a line here. Look how many people are there. You can say, oh, United are pushing them back. Are they really? He ends up hitting a cracking shot. And it goes into the top corner. And yes, you do get bonus points for sound effects in the Premier League. This is a little dump pass. I quite like these actually, where you're just sort of hitting it in behind and hoping someone's making a bit of a run. But you're not hoping that much because you're kind of seeing someone's already making Actually, Ratface isn't making the run. He's making the run as he's seeing him play the ball. So he doesn't really see that Ratface is making the run. He's just hoping someone's going to spin in behind into this space that he's clearly spotted because their line is up a little bit too high and they don't really have enough pressure on the ball to deal with something like this. It's a quality little crisscross move here. Crisscross is not the right word, but I can't think of it right now. Don't judge me. As he's running in behind. So Ratface is going down here. He's looking to get the receive ball back. The receive ball back, yeah, that makes sense. But I do want to show you this because when Ratface puts it across, it looks like a sort of, he's just putting it into an area and hoping someone's going to be there to finish it. But that's not true. He actually sees the run. Watch this. So when Ratface receives the ball here, watch. He has a little look. Do you see that? That little look there? That little tiny look creates the goal because he sees the space, he sees the runner, and he just puts it in there so they can just tap it in. But you think it's United have done a great play to score a goal, and actually, no, this defender here is rubbish. So watch him right here. He's watching the ball and he's completely ignoring the man running alongside him and the space that the ball's going to go to. His awareness of football is absolutely terrible. All he has to do is keep running his hardest and kick the ball over the goalpost. That's all he's got to do. And he doesn't do it. So as we go forward here, watch this. We'll go 1, 2, right. Do you see how quickly he loses that guy? Just because I think Rasmus Højlund keeps running and the other guy doesn't keep running. He doesn't take 2 more steps forward. He slows down thinking that cross is not coming in because he can't see the big massive gap in the, right inside of him in the 18-yard box. Run into that space and take it away. So when they pass the ball, you're there waiting for it because you know that's where he's going to go because here's a clue. This thing's called the goal. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a big posty things with the, this man over here. Yeah, and that's what he should have been doing and he's not doing it. So just a couple of yards ago where he was just in front of Højlund here because he didn't keep his run. Now look, he's 2 steps off him and he gets himself a goal. Yeah, not good enough. If you're still here, thank you for listening to the end. Be on the lookout at the end of the season because I'm going to be covering some of the Euros and also all the videos I've been putting together. I'm going to start to do you know those things, of all the goals scored and all the goals conceded by a lot of the teams, so you can watch all my analysis all in one go. I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.